This isn't a step-by-step tutorial, it's about training instinct. Anyone can move sliders back and forth, but what really matters is knowing what tools to use, when to pull back, and what to avoid entirely. Hi again YouTube, I'm Mitch Steed and I'm a photographer. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Capture One, Lightroom and Photoshop and how I used them to edit a portrait of myself from a photo shoot I did the other week. My end goal was to have a high pop contrasted image and I believe I achieved that quite well, but let's just get stuck right into it and look at the whole process together. Okay, so we're now in Capture One and basically what will happen is throughout the process, I'm going to be using this slider to show you the before and after so you can see what we've ended up with. But to begin with, we can see here that there's a little bit of soft focus going on. It's nothing too dramatic, but it's not that I haven't landed my focus because you can see there's lots of detail here and here. Everything is quite sharp. The softness in here is actually from a filter that I had on my lens. It's like a special vintage kind of glossy one. So when you have lights in the background, it makes them have a glow to them, like a hum, rather than being a crisp light source. And so that's made this image not as sharp because of that. So I'm going to play around with the clarity mode to really exaggerate the detail in this image, and I'm going to try and pump the color as well because I want to go for a nice bright poppy image. So first of all, we're going to start playing with exposure, high dynamic range, then our clarity, and then we'll move into retouching the image. So first up is just playing with our sliders. Okay, so now we're going to bump the clarity. So on this one, we're moving it up quite high. And as you can see, it's starting to add some undesirable texture to my skin. Don't worry about that. It is going to change. I'm going to increase the structure on it as well. Cool. So you're going to see here our before and afters. Now we can see it's made this jacket really stand out. And we've got a clear defined shadow and neck just there as well. And we can see this is now much sharper in the hair and the color on the glasses. So now let's move into retouching the skin. So we're going to keep the impact at 100% because we want to be as strong as possible. And we're going to control these blemishes. So let's slowly move the slider, and as you can see, they start to fade away nicely. And we're going to move this a little bit over halfway. Cool. So there's still a little bit of texture in the skin, you can see there, which is great. And then it just starts to smooth out in the highly problematic areas. So we still have texture, which is really important. Okay, so this here is one of those moments where you can push it too far and it looks like plastic, like Facetune, which is an old app people used to use, and it's not that desirable. So I would not do that if I were you. Okay, dark circles, so we don't have any visible because of the glasses, but we do have darkness near the eye. It's okay to have that shadow there because it's part of the image, but I just want to reduce it the tiniest amount, which will be just there. It's very discreet. It's barely noticeable, but it makes a difference. Okay, and then we're going to move into our eyes. So we're going to pop these eyes because I want to make them an exaggerated color later. So I'm going to really pump up the iris. Yeah, that's as far as I want to push that. And the sclera, which is the white part of the eye, we're going to bump this up too because that needs to stand next to the color we're going to do. It has to look nice and white next to it. All right, so as you can see, it doesn't look too crazy if you put them side by side, but it's still making a great difference there. It's starting to really take shape. Okay, and let's add some contouring in. So we need a little bit of shadow in here and just along here to give some dimension to the image. Okay, not too much because it can be quite crazy looking. Let's just bump it a quarter of the way. There. So very discreet, it's just there. As you see, it's given a bit more dimension. And just down here, we have a little bit more structures of the face. Okay, so now we want to give some sharpening and remove dust. All right, we're done. So that looks really good. Now let's transfer over to Lightroom. All right, so here we have our bright pop image. It's looking really good. You can see here it's quite sharp. There's a lot of texture in this jacket, and I don't like the way the blue is translated into Photoshop. This is as close as what it's going to look when it actually exports out of here. So what this looks like now is as close as it's going to look. That means I don't like this color. So we're going to play around with it. I want my eyes to kind of tie into this jacket. In real life, my eyes are a bit more of a greenish color. So let's play around with this and turn it green. And this is looking pretty cool. I like that. It's a little bit too bright, so let's just bring that saturation down a little bit. Perfect. That's a pretty cool green. This will, again, look brighter when we move it over to Photoshop. So right now, this is looking pretty good to me. Next up, we're going to use the brush masking tool, and we're going to play around with my eyes. Okay, so we probably want to bring that exposure down a little bit. And that's looking good to me. So as you can see here, this jacket now matches the eyes. There is a little bit of a glow here, but that's okay. When you zoom out, it's not that noticeable. I don't mind because it is part of this like pop image look. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. We're gonna now go and play around with this to tidy up all these little areas here in Photoshop. Okay, we're now in Photoshop, and we're gonna tidy up this section just here. We can do that in multiple ways, so I'm gonna show you one way. So let this tool find all the different objects in my image. And we're gonna use generative fill. Balance out the shadow and skin tone. All right, as you can see here, this is where it's gone to plastic. It just doesn't look realistic enough. It's way too photoshopped. This one here is a little bit more believable. It has taken away my hair here, so it does look too smooth. And this one's just completely the wrong skin tone, and it's added in some darkness down here. So I would say this is the closest. I can play with this and keep editing from there, but I'm going to just get rid of this and do it the hard way. So we're going to focus on using the spot healing brush, and we're going to use the lighten down here. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger because we want to have context for it. So it's going to line up some of the areas. And I'm going to zoom right in at a pixel level. Okay, that's looking pretty okay. Again, it's not perfect, but if we go perfect, it's going to look too touched. So that's where we're going to stay for now. Now we're going to go to the healing brush tool, and we're going to tidy up this hair over here. Got it here. So you want to go toward the area like this, because if I go this way, it starts to create hair. I'll show you in a second. Start to fill in hair. See, it's creating this weird hair texture there I don't want. I'm just going to go this way to drag the white over to it. And remove all that stuff there with the weird chromatic aberrations, the purple colors coming through. All right, and that there is looking pretty good. So what we've done is we've just trimmed this down enough to make it look neat. Obviously we don't want to shape it too much because it's going to look comical, and again, looks like we've played around with it way too much. Down here we can see when I toggle this off, we've repaired the damage that I caused down here by playing around with the brush too heavily earlier, and we've added in some natural shadow again, and it's just now with some balanced out skin so it doesn't look too distracting. From here we added like a border to it, which will give it like a nice gallery finish, and there we have it. So that's the final image there. It's looking quite good, so we're going to export this as a JPEG. So there we have it, our final image from our initial shoot. So there you have it. There's my version of editing a portrait using Capture One, Lightroom, and Photoshop. Stay tuned for next week, where I gave myself a personal assignment to create an advertisement using Aesop product right here in my lounge room in a very tiny environment. I'll see you around, and if you have any questions, just feel free to leave a comment and I'll be sure to get back to you. See ya!